Hi, I'm still back out here in the garden. And what I'm doing now is planting some of my seedlings. These beds have already been amended because I do have some things already planted in it. Plant in these buckets over here and in these pockets. But what I'm going to be doing is dropping some of the onions in here. I already have my water hose ready to water them in as I drop them in, so I do not have to backtrack and come back and water. I will water as I go. Okay, that took me a second, but I turned on the irrigation system on this bigger water bed because I wanted to get a little more soaked in. I feel like that's not getting a lot of water over there. And then I got this ready. So I'm gonna be dropping some of these onions. It don't matter to me which onions I drop in where. Well, these are my purple onions. I'm hearing something crawl around over here. I hope it's a lizard. I hope. I'm just looking. So I have some of my purple onions, and I'm gonna be dropping them in these raised beds and in this flower pot. Don't have any onions over here, and we're trying to companion plant as much as possible to try to keep the pest away from the brassicas. Here comes Miss Kaylani. Hey girl, I'm recording, okay? You finished circle time? Yeah. She had a little rough time this morning. We're wanting to do her schoolwork.
Well, I got my phone back.
You got your phone back?
Yeah.
No, okay. Yeah, because you know schoolwork come first. No schoolwork, no fun stuff.
You need help now?
Not right now. I got this part.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Yeah, the roots of these onions are definitely dry. It's been a couple of days since I bought them. And I just had them sitting out. These pests are really ripping the leaves off of some things. And what I'm pulling out and throwing out in here is some of the straw. I don't like a lot of the straw because it makes for bugs and they love to bury themselves down in stuff. And I don't like that. Kaylani, you're going to have to watch out running that way, okay? I'll move the tripod in a minute. I'm going to put 2 onions in this little bucket. I'm going to go back and put an actual seedling in here because there's enough room for a seedling to go in that second pot. Well, actually the third pot, that mint pot, that's the second pot. Can you get my who?
Your wind things.
What wind things? No, because it's up there blowing. Let it stay up there. It's not actually a toy. I just let you hold the ones that has been halfway broken. Where's that little yellow one that you had? I don't know which this is.
I don't know.
This might be a
Can I get the purple one?
No. I had already answered that question. I said no. Kaylani, I know you never get to play with it because it's not a toy. Can you move on and go get your toys that you have out here? You being recorded too. I'm not taking this off the recording. They see the camera looking at you, pouting. Yeah, she do plenty of that, y'all. So I think this is a cauliflower. I'm not sure about that one. Yes, Kaylani. It's a lizard. Yes, plenty of them out here. And honey, she's so good at changing the conversation. When you get on to her, she's real good at changing the conversation. I guess she said, baby, you can go ahead and talk about something else because that's over now. Oh, that girl is a trip. She's smart though, and she is so loving. She actually reminds me of my daughter Olivia because she loved being helpful and doing stuff. Now my daughter Olivia, she was helpful and she was a good listener. Kaylani, she's still working on one of them things. She's still working on some of that stuff. So I have onions in here, and I did plant a brassica in that because that bag is big enough to hold two things. And so now I'm going to just go ahead on and water them in. I'm not going to go all the way down the line before I water. I'm going to water right here at this part.
No, I will be checking on you, okay?
I'm fine. Thank you, though. Bye. She'll do that periodically throughout the day. Now she got to go in the house and she got to check on her papa to make sure he okay. Even though she probably been outside less than 5 minutes. That's just something she do throughout the day. I can say these bags over here, the soil is actually moist down in here. But I'm going to water them in because the brassicas was dry. I haven't watered them. I haven't watered since the day before yesterday. I'm just going to get these watered in. These little onions that I put in here. Oh, I didn't put no onions in that one. Okay. I'll drop some onions in here too as well. I'm just putting some water in here with it. Y'all, I was thinking about how I came to start gardening. I was thinking about what made me want to be out here every day. What keeps me coming out here? That's what I'd be thinking about sometimes. Girl, why you keep coming out here to doing this? You know, it's a lot of work in gardening now, and it's not easy work either. It's not easy work all the time being out here in the garden, and especially if you're trying to make videos and build a following and stuff like that. But I was gardening months before I ever started making a video. Hold on, y'all. I have a feeling I'm gonna need some sunglasses. Hold on. All right, guys, I'm back. It's so sunny out here. I had to get some glasses. That was probably about, I probably was gone about a minute for y'all, but I actually was gone about 10 minutes. I was in there talking to my husband, and Olivia called. She need a ride from work. So I'll be breaking this up to go pick her up for work. But until then, I'm going to keep dropping these seeds. And what was we talking about? I think I was talking about the reason why I garden. And I am going to do a video about how this garden started. Y'all will be so surprised at what this area looked like before I started saying, oh, I just want a couple of fruit trees, honey. That's all I want. Just a few fruit trees. Child. We so far from just a few fruit trees out here. I can't even say it because I know that wasn't the true statement. Hold on. I left a pack of onions down this other way. I did turn the water off in the raised bed. But, you know, I just thought about why I garden. I think I just love it, you know. I started watching garden shows on TV, and I thought, hey, I could do that, you know. And I started listening to people why they garden and what it means to them. And, you know, the reasons that they do it, you know, is to know where your food comes from, you know. But I think my number one reason of doing it is because it's just peaceful to me. It's hard work in it, but it's just peaceful to me. I think that's my number one reason for sticking with it. And then my second reason would be when you plant in something small like this, and then you get this big old onion at the end, or you get a little small onion at the end. Because this at the beginning of this season, I pulled my onions that I had down from last year. I had just little small bulbs on them, about the size of a golf ball, but they smelled so good, but it was like this when I planted it. So to get a little onion, something that you could freeze, something that you could use to flavor your food, that's good. That's number two. I like to plant seedlings and watch these things grow, and being able to harvest. Being able to harvest is number three for me. Being able to harvest and take the food in the house, look at the work that I put in when you harvest, that's the fruits of your labor right there. So harvesting would be number three. Number one would be, it brings me joy. It's peace. Number two, planting the little seedlings and watching the food grow. Three is harvesting the food that I planted. And four would be feeding my family. I could feed my family with this stuff that I'm growing out here. I'm growing mostly produce and fruit, which is basically what I need to be eating anyway, especially with the gut issues that I've been having. Just being able to feed my family from the things and myself from the things that I plant in this garden. I know it's sprayed with natural stuff only when I have to spray things with natural things. I'm not gonna come out here and try to pick off some of the worms. Not the way these worms been fighting me this year. I can't do it. So I have to use spray. That's just me. But in being able to bring the food into the house, cook it up, put it in my air fryer, drop it in the freezer. Like, we had so many tomatoes till I was like, well, what am I going to do with all these tomatoes? Because I want to get into canning, but I'm not quite into canning yet. But I had a lot of tomatoes. So when somebody say, well, you can freeze the tomatoes until you're ready to do something with them. So I have plenty of tomatoes in my freezer, because the tomatoes this year, the tomatoes and the peppers at the beginning of spring, the tomatoes was really giving. Now towards the end of summer going into fall, the peppers are still kicking. So that's my fourth reason, being able to feed my family. Those are things that's important to me. But out of all those things, because it brings me joy and peace. That's what keeps me out here, because gardening is not cheap. And I do try to do everything on a budget. I was talking to somebody on their live, and they told me, oh, Miss Kathy got money. No, Miss Kathy don't. Miss Kathy don't have no money. I have these green stalk towers, baby, because I buy. If I feel like, oh, I want a green stalk tower and they're not having a sale, you know what I do? I work some overtime. And what I do with that overtime money is buy myself a green stalk tower when they're not on sale. And then I know I'm getting away from Wild Garden, but then they had a buy one, get one free. And so I bought a bundle. So that gave me two bundles. A bundle means you get the 7-inch and the 10-inch pot, and you get the spinner, and you get one of the trellises that goes around. You used to get the top, but they stopped selling the top since they came out with this fancy one that closed up. So that gave me two, and then my daughter bought one, and then the rest of them I just been catching them on sale. I wait for them to go on sale, and that's when I get them. Because I like the bundle. So I could have everything, the spinner and all that. Because if you buy everything by piece, you end up spending a little more money. So I always just get the bundle. It's just cheaper to me. So I'm going to put another onion in here. But yeah, those are my reasoning for gardening. I know where my food is coming from. I know what's going on in this backyard, I do use a little chemical, that Dawn dish detergent. I do use that, and that's about the most chemically thing I use. I did use some diatomaceous earth on an empty bag that was full of ants, because I was not getting rid of my soil. That was after I had some potatoes. But I wasn't getting rid of my soil. Now I have some seedlings back here in beautiful black tower right here. Y'all, I hate having to have these glasses on because I can't tell what y'all looking at. But I have some empty pockets on this beautiful black tower here. So I'm going to try filling those in. I have quite a few on here, on that bottom one. And I like to fill in the 10-inch pockets with my bigger brassicas. And this is cabbage. Put some cabbage there, and I let these things get dry. I let them get dry. Where's my little water hose? Because I think I'm going to kind of water them a little bit before I stick them in there. And I had the water hose on the ground. So I'm going to kind of water this in some before I stick it in the ground. Because, I mean, it is super dry. I'm going to go ahead and just wet the whole little container because I'm going to drop all of these in. I did wet the roots of the onions already. But y'all, why do y'all garden? Talk about any one of y'all videos why y'all garden. Maybe it's reasons that I haven't even thought of that it benefits me. You know, it's definitely over time will save you money at the grocery store, you know. And I'm definitely, another reason, I guess reason 6 would be because I could get a different variety of things growing in my garden than I can at my grocery store. Because where I'm at my grocery store, they sell the basic. They'll sell you a Roman tomato, a beefsteak tomato, and then the regular like slicing tomato. You don't see any yellow tomatoes. You definitely not going to see any purple, chocolate tomatoes, anything like. You're not going to see any of those things. So reason number 6 would be I could grow things in my garden that I don't find in my local grocery store. So that's one thing. Because a lot of things in like okra, red okra. I never seen red okra before in my life. I didn't even know okra existed till I started gardening and I started researching things and started looking at more videos. Because before I started planting anything, I started researching just to see, well, can I do that? Can I garden? You know, I know my dad did it, you know, but his main thing was his collard greens. You know, that was his main thing, his greens. He didn't have a whole lot. Like I got all this stuff back here. He would love this. My dad would love this. He didn't have a whole lot of different things. What he liked, he planted. His peppers. He did do some corn one time. But he mainly was into his peppers and his collard greens, honey. That's what he wanted. I'm letting the water hose sit in the pocket and water in one of these pockets. I'm going to let it kind of slow drip a little bit before I even sit the plant in there because these things are dry. I'm not going to put a cabbage right next to a cabbage. What is this other thing I have here? Just so it could have a little room. But these pockets are deep. And I'm going to go back and water that one because I didn't water that one in. I just watered the pocket. But I definitely can find things in this garden that I didn't find in the grocery store. Like fresh habanero peppers. I don't find that in my grocery store here. I find it dried, you know, and then they have that on the Hispanic aisle. You know, it's not like it's in the produce, you know. Fresh cayenne pepper. I don't find that in my local grocery store here. I find dried cayenne pepper, and that's on the Hispanic aisle. Yeah, that's how it is here. You know, we even if I go to the local farmers market like Farmers 99, they will have the plants for you to grow it, and then they will have the plants where you could pick it off and just buy it from them. They have it, but like far as the grocery stores, they don't have it. They do not have it. And I know some people probably like, wow, yeah, yep. A lot of this stuff I didn't even know existed. Different kind of eggplant. All I ever seen in the grocery store here was Black Beauty. That's it. And that's the only kind I ever ate until I grew the different ones this spring. And I grew them in my yard. You know, that was the only time I ate a different type of eggplant besides Black Beauty. That was the only time. So that would be, I think, what my number 6 reason is, because I could get things out of this garden that I cannot get out of my grocery store. So that is one of the main reasons that I keep going, you know, because it is hard work. To me it is, but it's just fun. You ever had that work that was hard work, but it was fun? That's just like my job. My job is hard work. It is mentally stressful, you know, and especially when you're over people. But you ever had something that's hard, but it's fun all at the same time? That's gardening for me. It's hard work, but it's fun at the same time. It's comforting, it's soothing, it's beneficial, and I love it. I love it. And when I come out here, I think about my dad. You know, sometimes it'll kind of make me a little sad to think about him so much because I miss him and my mom so much. I think about my mom. I know I talk about my dad all the time because outside was my dad thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I got y'all so far off the camera. I know I talk about my dad all the time because outside was my dad thing. My mom was the inside person. She let my dad handle things outside and she handled things inside the house. Now, she would give her opinion of what she thought about what he was doing outside. But for the most part, he did whatever he wanted to out here. And she did plant a few things out front. And those were some tulip-like flowers. And those come back every year around right before her birthday. So it's always a reminder. And that's the only thing that she ever planted in this yard was those. Everything else was my dad. So I talk about him a lot when I'm out in this garden just because things outside was his thing. This was his thing out here. He loved the outside area. Y'all, I'm looking at my potato leaves and I don't know if it's I guess it's not the cutworm, but some kind of worm, honey, done came over here and ate the little leaves off the sweet potato leaves, off the potato leaves. These are white, red, those small red potato. Honey, they done stripped the leaves off the thing, po thing. I mean, they done stripped them down, child. And stripped them down because they was full of leaves over here the other day. They done stripped them down. Let me let y'all see. Honey, these things ain't playing out here this season. Let me turn y'all around. And they done took the leaves off. All the leaves was like this. Just yesterday. Because I did whiz through here yesterday. But look how the leaves look. Child. Ain't nothing not safe. There's nothing is safe out here in this yard. Better cover your stuff up if you want it. I'll buy you a bunch of seedlings to be replacing everything, because once they get all the leaves off, unless they just pop leaves back out, you know, that plant is pretty much done without leaves. You know, it can't grow. Hell, I'm telling you, nothing is safe out here. But yeah, y'all, I was just doing a little chit chat about why I garden, you know. And I love to see coming out here, seeing everything growing, see these green stalk towers, thinking about where the garden started, you know. I absolutely enjoy the work of coming out here in the garden, honey, because just these little things, honey, that's so dry. But that's my fault. I didn't come out here and squirt them with a little water. But I did try to protect them where they wasn't getting chewed on. I put them in that pop-up tent. That did help some. And I already watered the pocket where I'm sticking them at. So that's some in there. I don't have any empty 7-inch pockets because I already came and dropped seeds in those. But I do have on Stunning Stone Green Stalk Tower, I do have some empty pockets over here. And I'll be putting some in here too. I'll just spread them out, put one in every other pocket. Have a little table that I'll be sitting on. I'm working from the front part of the garden. It'll be easier if I came around here to the back way, but I don't feel like doing that. I'm running on bar time. Y'all, what are some of y'all reasons why y'all garden and keep doing it, you know? Especially when you plant something and it just die. Or you plant something and it's ate up, you know. It was growing good. You went to bed. You had a nice plant. You wake up, plant barely even exists. Like it did me with my those little flowers that I had at the beginning of spring. I planted those things and something came and ate them all up during the night while we slept. I forgot the little flowers. But I planted some and some grew, but they got gone too, you know. And I'm kind of scared to put a whole lot out because really I don't want to draw anything to the garden that's going to be eating up the flowers. I'm glad that's all they ate was the flowers. I'm watering some of these pockets. Some of these things are labeled, gonna be labeled, and some of them are not. I know what it is when it start growing, because to me, this is a cauliflower, but the cauliflower, the cabbage, and the greens, the collard greens, the Georgia collard greens, they leaves look a lot alike to me. I can't tell them apart. I really need to label them, but I'm not, because I've gotten to the point where the grow towers are mixed. It's mixed with different things. Last year, I would fill everything up with the broccoli, fill everything up with the cabbage. You know, I'm not doing that this year. I'm putting stuff all over the garden, filling up empty pockets, and I will recognize it as it starts growing. So that's one thing that I am doing different in the garden. I don't even know where I threw my little thing. Okay. Y'all, and you can grow big things in a pot. When I first started this garden, honey, when I first started this garden, I had one blackberry bush, two blueberry bushes, and I had one peach tree. I had got those little peach trees that just a stick. We call them a whip. Didn't have any leaves on it. I nursed that thing and nursed that thing, and that thing never did anything. You know, same with the blackberry. I got that in a little. It was just a little vine, nothing on it. That didn't do anything. Now these blueberry bushes, I still have those. Two of those. They haven't ever given me anything. I had one that gave me like 4 blueberries. But you know, what do you do about gardening when something like that happens? You know, what makes you keep going on and on, you know? So you have to really like this, or this has to be your way of living in order for you want to keep going on and on. Because some people give up. But man, I tried that garden thing. It ain't grow. I can't do it. I'm in an apartment. I can't, and I just have a balcony. I got a small backyard. I can't do nothing. You know, even when I was at my other place, before me and my husband moved here, we rented a house, a nice house and they had a small backyard there and a driveway, and I had a nice porch, and I grew on that porch. I grew strawberries in a hanging basket, and I tried to grow eggplant. Well, the plant grew, but I didn't get any eggplant from it. But I didn't give up. You know, I was here a while before I thought about gardening. But I didn't give up. I kept trying to grow something. I always tried to grow something, some flowers. I grew a fig tree over there and everything. It wasn't as massive as this fig tree that my daddy have over here, because that thing is massive. I had my husband to cut it down some, because it really, you couldn't hardly walk by except for on one side of the yard. Uh-oh, this is all tied up. Yeah, hopefully these leaves, you see how they hanging down. Hopefully they get some water. Well, I might take that one off because it has some spots on it, so y'all can hang down. Yeah, let y'all go. And I'm just gonna water the root of it. But my time will be up in a little while. I have to go pick my little girl up. I call her my little girl. She ain't, Mama, I'm grown. No, you know. Well, she don't never say she's a grown woman. One day somebody told her she's a grown woman. And she called me. She said, Mama, she had to talk about I'm a grown woman. I told her I'm a young lady. I'm not no grown woman. That was funny to me. Because most people, most young adults be glad for somebody to say they're a grown woman, you know. Or the young person they self will be saying, well, I'm grown. You know, she didn't want nobody telling her she was grown. Yeah, it was funny to me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not no grown woman. I'm a young lady. I'm not no grown woman. Says the person that lives out of her parents' house and been on her own for like 3 years now. She's only 24 years old. She's been on her own for a couple of years now. And she don't ask me to do nothing for her except for give her a ride. And she's working on those things. But that young one, Miss Olivia Hunter, she gonna work. She was like, I ain't going there. I ain't going to her part-time job. Because her part-time job was her full-time job before she got this other job. And they hated to lose her, so that's why she's there part-time. But she, no, I'm not going today. I'm not going today. I'll call her. Mama, I'm at work. I was like, well, I thought you weren't going. Yeah, I changed my mind. Yeah, I'm at work. I was like, okay. Thought she wasn't going. Thought she was tired. But she's a good worker, and I do like that about her. But y'all, yep, those getting back on the subject because I just windled off a minute, I just squirreled off a minute. That is why I garden. Those reasons alone. One is just it's so pleasing and soothing and comforting and peaceful out here in the garden. You come out here, you can hear nature sound and all. Yep, y'all. I'm pretty sure we probably share some of the same reasons why we garden. It gives you food for your family, for yourself. You know where your food is coming from. It's healthy living, healthy food. It's just a good thing. And I really want my family to start trying to garden. Even if they just had 2 of these 21-gallon pots, you could plant about 4 different things in those. And there you have 8 plants growing. I really want my family to start growing. And the way we've been getting these recalls on some of the things, and we did have a recall that we had to take back. It was a recall on some state fair corn dogs, and that was because they said that the stick part of the corn dog was cooked into the bread. Now, I don't eat corn dogs, my husband don't, but the grandkids, they like them, so we have them here. So we had to take those back to the store and get our money back. Which Kaylani was disappointed because she'd be like, well, where's my corn dogs? We had to take them back. Well, why? So we kind of had to explain it to her that it wasn't good for our stomach anymore, so we couldn't eat them. So we had to take them back. She didn't care about that, child. She wanted her corn dog. She wanted her corn dog. But that's it, you all. I am ending this video. I'm going to keep dropping these seeds out here. I'm trying to water this pocket because over here, this pocket is dry. A lot of these pockets was moist. I don't know what happened to this one. So I'm just watering it, letting the water get down in here, and I'm just stirring it up till I can get moisture through here. Yeah, that's it. Because, honey, I don't know. That thing was like sand in here. I don't want the roots all soaked up, but I don't want them that dry either. And hopefully the ones that look so limp, hopefully they'll get that water and that fertilizer to them and they'll grow back. They'll pop back out, I mean. And this is the candid cauliflower. And see, that's another thing about growing your own food is knowing the different things. I never knew there was so many different kind of cauliflowers, purple cauliflower and all that, because we do, like I said, we don't have that in our local grocery stores. And here, my local grocery store for me is Publix, Harris Teeter, Walmart, Aldi's, Winn-Dixie, 5 places. We don't see that stuff. They just started getting the different type of mushrooms here, fresh, where you could put the little clamps in there and get it and weigh it up your own self. They just started getting that, and that's over at Harris Teeter or Winn-Dixie. That's not even in Publix, which is supposed to be more like an upscale place compared to Walmart or whatever. Oh, and we do have Sam's here as well. But none of those places have I seen those things here. Different tomatoes. You're not going to go anywhere and see a table stand of purple tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, and stuff like that. You're not going to see that here in my area. Not going to see that here. But that's it, you all. I'm going to see you all.